Welcome to the Voice of Reason Sports Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the show, leave a comment, and click that like button. Welcome back to the Voice of Reason Sports Podcast. This is the Marvelous One, back at it with Don and Philosophical. Today, we're going to talk about our top 5 teams now that we're at the midpoint of the season. You good? You fellas good with that?
Yeah. Good. Let's do it.
Let's run through it.
All right. Well, I'll go first. And I'm going to start my top 5 from the top of the list because I found it hard to figure out 4 and 5 on my list. So I think that's what you guys are probably going to get a kick out of it. All right. So number 1, this one was hard. This was hard because, you got 2 dynamic quarterbacks that I'm looking at here, right? That can win the game throwing or running. But one of them is way more dynamic, in my opinion. One has an MVP under his belt. And I think he's the difference maker. If he can stay healthy, this team could potentially go all the way. And the fact that they have their quarterback on defense and Roquan Smith, I think that really solidifies this team on defense. So I got to go with Don's Ravens as the number 1 team on my top 5. And that's more recent, things that I've seen that convinced me that they're the number 1 team. 2 is the other dynamic quarterback that I like, the tush push or the brotherly love push or whatever they're calling it in Philadelphia. But I got the Eagles as my number 2 team. They beat some really good teams so far this season with beating the Dolphins and the Cowboys. Although they had that one lonely loss to the Jets, a game they should have won. Hey, things happen, and they lost that game. But the Eagles are number 2. Number 3, I got the Chiefs. Although we're so used to seeing the Chiefs being explosive, we don't give them enough respect for when they're just winning games, playing hard-nosed football, right? We're used to them putting up a lot of points on teams, and when their offense struggled just a little bit, we gave them a lot of crap for that. But, the Eagles, the Chiefs are the 3rd best team in this league. So I got the Chiefs number 3. And number 4, this is where things got sticky for me, right? I had a whole bunch of teams on there. I was eliminating teams based on who they lost to and who beat them up badly, how bad they lost. So the team I got at number 4, I got the Lions. I think the Lions have been playing well. They won some big games. They lost some close ones, but I got the Lions number 4. And number 5, out of the ashes, I got the Bengals, number 5. The Bengals have been playing well of late. Wow. And, man, this was a hard decision because, I like the 49ers. I wanted to put the 49ers here, but I just couldn't. These last 3 games have been terrible. I just cannot put the 49ers here. And I like the Jags, and I just couldn't do it either there. So I'm going with the Bengals. Who you got, Phil?
Man, that's actually surprising, man. Actually, I'm going to start from 5-1 here. And my number 5 team, man, I got the Jags, man. I like the way the Jags are playing. Trevor Lawrence is really ascending. They're winning the division. Their defense is coming along. I know at the beginning of the season we stated that their defense was not going to be great, but they're really coming along. They're being coached well. So I like the Jaguars here at 5. 4, unfortunately, I got the 49ers. I have not liked the way they look. Brock Purdy they got the tape out on him. Trent Williams, I'm telling you right now, that is a big loss. He's out for the next couple of weeks. Chase Young trade, I think that'll boost their defense a little bit, but I think they're lacking a little bit in the secondary. And, they're losing some close games here. But I think that could be the pedigree of somewhat maybe a championship team. Maybe. Number 3, I got the Chiefs, right? I just feel like, man, that stinker they had against, they were saying Mahomes was sick when they lost to the Broncos. I think that was a little bit of a dud for them. They took that to the chest. But, man, what an impactful win against the Dolphins. What a win against the Dolphins.
Yes,
man.
sir.
They came out and just dominated the Dolphins. And I think that put them right back where they need to be. And I got them at 3. Number 2, Eagles. Right now, Jalen Hurts isn't running as much, but, man, he is really throwing the ball. A.J. Brown's having a hell of a year. That defense is stepping up. I like that defensive line. They're playing a tough division right now. Well, not division, but conference schedule right now. But they're looking good, man. And Number one right now, I got the
Oh,
Ravens.
oh, okay.
The,
I
number
thought you said the
one,
Bengals number one. I was like, wait, what's with this?
number one right now, I got the Ravens, man. I'll say this, right, and I'll say this on the show. Our very first week, I said the Ravens would not win this division. I said Lamar Jackson would it take him a little while to really, gel with his offensive coordinator. But man, was I wrong? The last 2 weeks I had picked against the Ravens, and they have completely destroyed the Lions, and they completely destroyed the Seahawks, where two teams I thought were going to give them a fight, and they didn't. And I just want to kind of mention some honorable mentions because this was a tough list for me. Saints, they're on a nice little winning streak. Vikings, I don't know how much longer they're going to be an honorable mention, and the Bengals, they're on a winning streak too. So
Honorable mention: Saints, Vikings.
yes, yes, Saints are winning the division right now. Derek Carr is stepping it up. He's stepping it up. Taysom Hill, he's Tebow back there. He's stepping it up. Honorable mentions. I just couldn't put him in my top five.
Wow.
I couldn't. In the Lions, I'm sorry.
No
That blowout
Lions, no
loss.
Dolphins. Okay.
Dolphins, when you get punished like that, the Dolphins are on a serious losing streak right now, and the Lions right now, that's a bad loss.
Okay.
It was tough. But yeah, go ahead, Don.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start off by letting y'all know there are no honorable mentions on my list because this is the realest list that you ever gonna hear in your life. And let's go ahead and break it down. Even though we put a good beating on them, I think they're a solid team. They've been playing tough ball all the way through. My number 5 team is the Detroit Lions. I think they just had a bad hiccup in catching the
Yep.
Ravens. I mean, we've been stomping on NFC teams for a long time. My number 4 team is the Jags. Jags are surprisingly tough.
Mm-hmm.
Tough defense, tough offense. Find a way to win. When you go to their city or when they come to you, they're not an easy win. You know that they're not a check mark on that schedule. You guys strap the chin strap up and ready to go. My number 3 team is surprising because even though the Chiefs have a weak offense, they become more of a defensive team. The lack of wide receiver and the most drop balls that I've ever seen in NFL history, but even with a number 1 quarterback, but he finds a way to throw to the guy that used to bag your groceries, the guy that used to drive the UPS truck, and also the guy that used to keep accountability in the Walmart warehouse. But also he's been doing well as far as that, and I think the defense has solidified, and now you have a quarterback that you just say manage my game and don't lose the game. My
Mm-hmm.
number 2 team, I'm kind of pushed between it, but I like Philly. Philly is strong,
Mm-hmm.
but Philly has a lot of injuries that's going to plague them, and they play in the number 1 schedule. So in the up and coming weeks, it's going to be interesting to see if they maintain. But that game with Dallas, that showed me that they had an awful game. Dallas played a great game and could not finish, and that was a telltale sign for me, and for Dallas to show that on their worst day, you're still not better than Philly. And my number 1 team has always been the Ravens. And not because I'm a Ravens fan, because I know football, boys and girls. And right now, we're looking at a dominant team with a dominant offense, defense, and special teams. That's one thing that everybody, the place kicker, we good from 40, 50, 60 yards out. And we punting everybody, pushing them back in the red zone, which means that you have to march that ball down the field. And we playing man to man because guess what? We know that we can put pressure on the quarterback. And guess what? When we get a lead, we're going to keep the lead because we're going to run that ball down your throat. So even though we had early injuries in the season with our running back, and here's the most scariest thing that I'm going to tell everybody in the league, and you should have been reading it from the front go. Lamar can pass the ball. I've
Mm-hmm.
been seeing this since
Always good.
I've been seeing this in Pop Warner, and right now you're seeing what you never paid attention to. You didn't pay attention to the Cunninghams. You didn't pay attention to the McNairs. You didn't pay attention to those guys. And now Lamar is showing you what the total package looks like. It probably was a lot of cold quarterbacks that didn't, had to find other positions and play wide receiver. But now they let the best athlete on the team play the true position. And
Yep.
now you're seeing with a good coordinator and good wide receivers around him, Because, like I said before, that's the difference between the Chiefs being number 1 and number 3 is that they don't have that wide receiver core that they had when they was winning those championships. I yield my time back.
Yeah, no, I
Wow.
agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I find it surprising no one mentioned the Dolphins, and we were all high on the Dolphins. And I don't know if it's just more recent losses to the big teams, because I realized that the Dolphins just can't beat any of the good teams. And that's why I just could not put them on my list.
Right.
You know, I tried hard. I wanted to put the Dolphins. I wanted to put the Dolphins at 49ers, and I just could not. They don't deserve to be on my top 5 list.
Right.
So
I agree. I almost as soon as you said the Dolphins, I was like, I just can't, man. They have not looked good, man. I mean, getting dominated by the Chiefs. They got beat by the Eagles. It's big games. These are teams they're going to see.
Teams with winning records, they cannot play.
They can't beat them.
Tough.
They can't play tough. Yeah.
Sub 500, they will beat you in the dirt.
Right.
Yeah, and they got to play some of these cold teams in the cold. So that's another thing. Yeah.
You talking dirty now, boy. They not gonna play in that. They playing that cold weather.
Yeah. I got to give Lamar some props, right? Because I mean, I'm gonna give him some kudos again, and I hope he loses next week. Just kidding, but I'm gonna give him some props. I mean, this year he's been throwing first priority and running second priority, but hey, Zay Flowers is balling. They're doing it without a run game. Odell Beckham has got a little bit of a temper tantrum because he's not getting the ball. But that defense is nasty. That defense is nasty. Just fine. They are stopping everybody and everything. So Ravens looking like a championship team, but that AFC is going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
It's not going to be tough. And you're looking at red zone offense, and you forgot to talk about how the Ravens been running the ball down their throat. We thought at one point in time that we needed a running back, but Big Gus is proving us wrong.
All right, you fellas ready to get into the recap?
Yeah.
Run it down.
All right. Well, before we go into our recap, Don, what was our records for this past week?
Oh man, I tell you right now, we started off the week kind of tough, and Phil made some progress this week. He actually started out, with a tough, but I would actually say through week 9, you might as well say week 9, he went 9-5. Me and you, Marv, went 7-7. But I'm still in first place with 80 and 53. Phil is in 75-61, and Marv, you're putting in a distant last with 70 and 66. Our guest Dell, he went a dismal 6-8.
Ooh.
So our two special guests with a combined record of 16 and 14. Because the guest before, she went off last week before
she
Dell
did well.
came down and dragged the numbers down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Dell dragged the numbers down. So
this is around the time the Bengals and Jaguars, they get me back in first place. The same thing happened last year is going to happen this year. I'm 5 games behind. I was 5 games behind last year. So hey,
man, let's get into the recap.
Sesame Street.
Yeah,
number 5.
This is a great transition into the recap.
Yep.
All right. So we had the Thursday night game. We had the Titans against the Steelers. Don and I went with the Titans. Phil and Dell with the Steelers. The Steelers won this game 20-16. I was still happy with Will Levis's play. I'm still convinced he is the guy for the Titans.
Yep.
All right, next we had the Saints at home against the Bears. We all went with the Saints, and the Saints won this game, but I was a little concerned. We started out struggling against this young quarterback, Tyson Badgett is his name. He kind of had us on our heels, but once again, my defense figured him out in the second half and completely shut him down. Only allowed 3 points in the second half. And this 2-quarterback system that we're running where Carr manages the offense from the 20 beyond to the next 20, and then 20 and in is Taysom Hill in the red zone. So it's kind of working right now. I got to see more. I want to make sure we got to get this hashed out with this offense, because like this game, we were +5. We had 5 turnovers. We caused 5 turnovers, I should say. Excuse me. We caused 5 turnovers, 3 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries. 5 turnovers when we had no turnovers on offense. So we were +5. We should have blown this team out. But I'll take a win. A win is a win, and that's how I like it. So
and you guys are winning the division. The Bucks have imploded. The Atlanta looks like they're imploding, and Carolina, I mean, they won one game. So
well, they imploded on the first game of the season. So.
Yeah. So you guys are winning that division. Looks like we'll see. Maybe Atlanta will wake up.
Let's let it play out. Don't jinx us, man. All right, next. Chiefs at home against the Dolphins. Don, Dell, and I went with the Dolphins. Phil went with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs won this game 21-14. Yeah. All right, next. The Falcons versus the Vikings. We all went with the Falcons. And the Vikings won this game 31-28 in the final seconds with Josh Dobbs at quarterback. A guy that just showed up 4 days before the game, didn't practice, didn't even get snaps from the center, doesn't even know his wide receivers' names.
Nope.
And he beats the Falcons.
Yeah, Jared Hall got hit first quarter with a concussion. We brought in Josh Dobbs, and then the whole offense just went a whole 180. I'll say this: the defense has played a lot better. I was happy about the Josh Dobbs move. Actually, when I texted Marv and I said, I hope we do not get Jameis Winston. So when I saw Josh Dobbs, I was like, okay, I can deal with that. So Josh Dobbs, I mean, he was running the ball.
Yep.
The offense look invigorated. The defense is playing real well. Atlanta, to me, is just Tyler. I think they had Tyler Heineke out there. Taylor Heineke out there, and right now, man, they're just imploding. I'm gonna pump the brakes a little bit. Won a 4-game winning streak. We'll see how I feel this week against the Saints. So I yield my time back.
Okay. Yeah, and we got to give some credit to that coaching staff with the Vikings.
Yeah.
They get that win with a quarterback that wasn't even on your roster until 4 days before the game is pretty impressive. All right. Next, we have the Browns. The Browns were at home against the Cardinals. Yeah, the Browns blew them out, and we all went with the Browns. The Browns won this 27-0. Why are the Cardinals in the NFL? All right. Next, we had the Packers at home against the Rams. We all went with the Rams, and Jordan Love pulled this out 20-3. I think part of the issue was that Stafford, he got knocked out of this game, or he didn't play in this game. I think he got knocked out.
He didn't play at all.
He didn't play at all. That's right.
Yeah, I think he has a hurt thumb or something like that.
Right? Yeah.
And if I knew that, I would have picked.
I would have went with the Packers too.
Yeah, but they just waived. I don't know. Just a side note, they just waived him and they signed Carson Wentz.
Yep. Yeah, they sure did. I don't think it's gonna make a difference, but yeah.
No.
All right. Next, we have the Patriots at home against the Commanders. Don, Phil, and I went with the Commanders. Dell, for some reason, went with the Patriots, and the Commanders won this game 20-17. Come on, man. Y'all got to start giving some credit to Sam Howell. 325 yards passing in this game. So,
second week in a row.
Yeah, he's putting up some big yards.
Yeah,
pretty good for a young quarterback. All right, next, at the Ravens at home against the Seahawks. Don, Dale, and I went with the Ravens, and of course, Phil went against the Ravens and went with the Seahawks. What was he thinking, Don?
Man, I just, like I said before, I don't know what Phil's thinking. I mean, it's one thing to bet with your heart, but like I said before, Lamar did not have to dominate that game, and that's the scary part. Is that we found another weapon. Mitchell, that coming off the bench, a guy that we got from East Carolina, but he's actually, a diamond in the rough that goes, pay homage to, us being able to draft well. Andrews, he had a good day, and also Odell Beckham, happy birthday. Got his first touchdown today. We do the Baltimore shuffle. But I want people to pay attention to how we controlled and dominated the game as far as ball control. I mean, you're looking at, we controlled the ball was on offense. Their defense stayed on the field for almost, I say, 3/4 of the game, and that shows that, one, we wasn't passing the ball because Lamar did not, sling the ball on around the field. He didn't have to do that way. And I think a couple of costly fumbles between, Lamar, he had a fumble and a loss, and also Odell, he had a fumble. So we had 3 fumbles in that game, but it won't show with the score because it was this total dominance. When the defense gave us the ball back, we put points on the board, and we weren't putting 3 points on the board. We were putting 7. And it got to the point where we dominated the game so bad that we was able to put our backup quarterback in the game. Lamar was on the sideline in the skull cap. So it just goes back to saying that, the completeness of the team is evident, and not only just in the score, but also just showing how the defense and offense and also the special teams are all clicking at the same time. I yield my time back.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And it goes back to what you and I talked about last season. Like, Lamar is working too hard to lead this team. Like, if you can take some pressure off him as an offensive coordinator, bubble screens, I don't care what it is, take the pressure off him. Save those plays where he improvises and makes something great happen. Save those plays. Why does he have to do that every play? So I think that's good that the Ravens are like limiting the amount of times that he has to be great to succeed here. So yeah, no, that's good, man. All right. Next, we had the Texans at home against the Buccaneers. Phil and I went with the Texans. Don and Dell went with the Buccaneers, and the Texans won this game 39-37. They won it in the final seconds. C.J. Stroud is the truth. And I think he also broke a rookie quarterback record with 470 yards passing in this game. So outstanding.
Man. Yeah.
All right. Next, we had the Panthers at home against the Colts. Don, Phil, and I went with the Colts. Dell went with the Panthers. And the Colts won this one 27-13. Next, we had the Raiders at home against the Giants. We all went with the Raiders, and the Raiders won this game pretty handily, 30-6 over the Giants. I think Daniel Jones is out for the season.
Out
now.
again.
Yeah, he's out
again.
Yeah.
He was never present.
He was never present.
Tyrod Taylor's still hurt too, so they got a third string quarterback coming in there.
Yep. And so, Raiders already look good, with their new head coach. So smart move by the Raiders. And then lastly, we had the Eagles at home against the Cowboys. I shouldn't say lastly. Eagles at home against the Cowboys. Dell and I went with the Cowboys. Phil and Don, you went with the Eagles, right?
Yeah, I went with the Eagles. Okay. I don't believe in the Cowboys. They counterfeit.
Well,
they counterfeit.
I messed up listening to Dell, tell me that they own this division. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, how much? Well, let's talk about this just for a second here. That 2-point conversion that Dak missed. But other than that, Dak has looked good last couple of weeks.
So I'm glad you said that, because to Dell's point, Dallas played a great game.
Yeah.
And they couldn't beat, right? And you couldn't win.
Yep. Right. Offensive line penalties.
That's the best game Dak ever threw, the best game he ever played, and you still lost. Yep. And Philly was not clicking, and Hurts is hurt. Ain't no more to say.
Next, we had the Bengals at home against the Bills. Phil, Dell, and I went with the Bengals, and Don went with the Bills. Bengals win this game 24-18. The Bengals are rising. I think Joe Burrow is healthy now.
Yes, and the Bills are falling. And you guys ridiculed me at the beginning of the season when I said the Bills are gonna struggle.
Hey, he healthy. If he plays the game, he's healthy. Let's stop using those phrases. If you're a real football player, you step on the field, you healthy. You don't step on the field if you're not.
That's not true. That's not true.
That is true.
Joe Burrow has been battling a cancer.
You don't step on the field if you. Hey, listen. Hurts won the game. He hurt. You play to win the game.
All right. Well, I think the Bengals are playing well now. They're in my top 5. They're playing well.
Yeah.
All right. So, lastly, we have the Jets at home against the Chargers. Phil and I went with the Jets, and the Chargers won this game with Don and Dell picking the Chargers. It was 27-6. Yeah, I think the Jets are
Chargers look
coming
like
back
they're trying to
numbered.
make a run. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
they
the
are.
Chargers look like they're trying to make a run. I think the Jets are done.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We just don't know what team we're gonna get. Every week is different. Oh, the defense is
Yeah.
able to carry the team. It's just I
They
can't
don't
really
believe
tell.
in that guy.
They
And
don't.
Aaron Rodgers throwing the football on the field before the game is not helping.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
helping.
Right.
Right, right.
He walking
Right.
without his walking cast on, and because he took a whole bunch of pain pills, and now he throwing the football on the field doing warm ups. I mean,
Right,
you got a
Right.
young quarterback. He's psychologically out.
right,
Right.
right, right. All right, let's get into our predictions. All right. Thursday night game. We got the Bears at home against the Panthers. Um, the Bears are 4-point home favorites here. Yeah, I'm going with the Bears. I mean, even though we caused them to have 5 turnovers and Badger threw 3 interceptions, he had a fumble, and I think DJ Moore had another fumble. But we got a good defense. We got a good defense. We're gonna cause turnovers. We're gonna put pressure on your quarterback. We're gonna figure him out in the second half. I still like what I saw from the Bears quarterback, and I thought the Bears played well. So I'm going with the Bears. And besides, I think the Panthers stink. I'm going with the Bears. Who you got, Phil?
Yeah, I kind of thought about this. I was like, man, this is a terrible Thursday game. But I think the pressure that the Bears are going to put on Carolina is going to be too great. Montez Sweat getting that new contract.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick the Bears here.
Don.
Yeah, they got to decide whether they want a first round pick or not. But the Panthers have digressed and gone backwards. But I think they still got the right chip.
Well, the Bears are going to get a first round pick anyway because they're going to get the
Yeah, they got.
Panthers.
Yeah, so they're gonna win.
Jesus.
They're gonna win.
Yeah, they're gonna win
Yeah,
again. So yeah,
yeah,
the
they're gonna
Yeah.
Panthers
win.
Panthers gonna reverse. The Bears will win this one. I think they win this one by 2
Yeah.
touchdowns.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
Okay.
agree. Yeah, it's going to be ugly. All right. Next, we have the Patriots at home against the Colts. Wait a minute. This game is in Germany.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So we got the
Okay.
Patriots in Germany. The Patriots are the home team, air quotes, against the Colts. Yeah, I don't care if they were playing on the moon. I'm going with the Colts here. Colts are going to win this
Wow.
game. The Colts are 2-point road favorites here. Phil, who you got?
Man, this is tough, man. This is really tough. But I'm gonna go with New England here.
You're going to go New England.
I'm gonna go with New England here. Man, this is
Don,
tough.
let me guess, Don, you're going with the Colts, right? Baltimore's old team?
Yeah, I mean, even though I can't stand neither one of them, but I think Belichick should have been fired. I digress.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Next, we got our voice of reason game of the week. We got the Bengals at home against the Texans. The Bengals are 7-point home favorites. Yeah, I'm gonna make a bold pick here.
Woo!
I'm gonna make a bold pick here. I'm high on this young quarterback. I like what I saw from this young kid. Like he had 40 seconds to go 80 yards against the Bucks to beat them, and the kid did it with ease. I like this kid. I'm going with the Texans here. Texans over the Bengals. I think the Bengals run is going to fall here, but that's not to say the Bengals aren't good. Phil, who you got?
I will say this. That's not a bad pick actually, because I think CJ Stroud is the truth, but we gotta also understand that he does not play defense, and the Texans give up a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the Bengals here.
Okay. Don, who you got?
As much as I want to go against the Bengals, I can't stand them, and I like the young quarterback. I think that this is, if the Bengals was on the road or they was playing somewhere else, I probably would ride with them. But nah, I can't do that. I think that, he's actually disapproved that whether he's back or not. So I got to run with Burrow on this one.
Okay, no doubt, no doubt. I can understand that. I got a feeling about these Texans. All right. Next, another voice of reason game of the week. We got the Vikings, 5-4 Vikings at home against the 5-4 Saints. The Saints are 2.5-point road favorites. I don't like when we play in Minnesota. It's just I don't know. Just never works out for us.
The Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, it's always crazy in the Minnesota. But I think the Saints exercise those demons.
Yeah.
They win in Minnesota. Josh Dobbs comes back down to earth. Now we got some tape on him. And yeah, we're gonna solve those problems that the Falcons had. Saints win. Who you got, Phil?
Man, I'm sorry to say this. Also, no Justin Jefferson. Um, I think last week was a passionate win. But that defense, the Saints defense is great, and elite. So I think Josh Dobbs is gonna struggle and we can't run the ball. So I'm picking the Saints here.
Don.
Yeah, I mean, even though Dobbs got to have the IQ of a brainiac, I mean, he has so many playbooks and he's living out of a suitcase, so this is not helping. But I would say the Saints, they dominate games like this when they have young quarterbacks and the communication between them and the offense coordinator. I think that defense is going to ramp it up. I got the defense probably scoring 2 points, and probably you might as well play putting them in field goal position. So I look at the defense putting up 13 points.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, with the defense getting turnovers and stuff, inside the opponent's, side of the field, and now that the Saints have their red zone offense hitting on all cylinders, yeah, I think the Saints are going to be putting up points here. All right, next we got the Steelers at home against the Packers. The Steelers are 3-point home favorites. Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers here. I do not trust the Packers. Phil, who you got?
I got the Steelers. I actually think the Steelers are going to run. So I got the Steelers here.
Don.
Man, I don't like the Steelers at all. I really don't. But the Packers are just so trash. And you think they would have got it right by now, but they really didn't. So I got to run with the Steelers, even though. And the Steelers are at home, so that's going to be a tough one.
Well, I mean, the Packers won last week. You don't want to go with the Packers?
They
Not
did play the
no.
Rams.
They played the Rams. I'm just saying. All right, next we have the Bucks at home against the Titans. The Bucks are 1.5-point home favorites. I don't care. I'm going with the Titans. I like Will Levis. I like what he's doing. I mean, it's real simple. Just throw the ball up to D Hop, and I think the Titans are going to win this game. The Titans are going to be my downfall. Who you got, Phil?
Man, I think this is territory where I think the Bucks are starting to realize they're probably going to start tanking pretty soon. So I'm going to choose the Titans here. I like Will Levis. So I'm going to choose the Titans here.
Don.
The Titans, they finally went away from that quarterback, and now that young kid has breathed life, and he throws the perfect deep ball, which opens up the middle, and they're not scared to run those routes. And now he realized that he got a number one receiver. So yeah, Titans win big.
Okay. All right. Next, we got a voice of reason game of the week. We got the Jags at home against the 49ers. The 49ers are 3-point road favorites here. I think the 49er misery continues because you got a Jags team coming off a bye week, right? Yep. So they got extra time to prepare. They got time to heal up.
Well, the 49ers came off bye week too, right?
Well, the 49ers, yeah, they came off a bye week too, but I just think the Jags playing at home, coming off a bye week, I think they have the advantage here. The 49ers, coming from the West Coast all the way to South Florida on the East Coast. Well, not South Florida, Northern Florida, but still East Coast. So they probably spent the week there in Jacksonville, but still too much for them. I like the Jags here. I think the Jags get this win. Phil, who you got?
Man, I kind of went back and forth about this. 49ers not having Trent Williams, but Chase Young being in the rotation. I just Jags kind of struggle against good defenses. Man, this is tough. But I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna go with the Jags here.
Don.
Let's go ahead. This is where we get that separation. I gotta go with everybody keep forgetting that the 49ers is a prolific offense.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that they have not talked about figuring it out, and I got it, and plus they added some new pieces, the defense, we cannot ignore that, Chase is not going to have an impact on this game. I think that, the Jags are going to play tough, but I think the 49ers bounce back strong.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, because if they lose this one, this will be 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And you starting off 5-0 and you lose 4 straight.
Yep.
Yeah. All
Yep.
right. It might start calling for Brock Purdy.
I
Yeah.
don't think that's happening.
I don't think that's happening either, but yeah. All right. Next, we got a voice of reason game of the week. We got the Ravens at home against the Browns. The Ravens are 6-point home favorites. Yeah, this is going to be a tough game. This should be a good old school football game. But yeah, I'm going with the Ravens here. I think they're going to eke it out. I don't think they're going to win by 6. I think they're probably going to win by 3. It's going to be left to the leg of is it Justin Tucker, your kicker?
Yeah, we call him Mr. Big Boot, baby. Mr.
Yeah.
Big Boot.
Yeah. I think this game is gonna end with him kicking a field goal. Who you got, Phil?
Man, Deshaun Watson looked good last week, even though they played the Cardinals.
Everybody looks good against the Cardinals.
Yeah, and every time I picked
Facts.
against the Ravens, they've blown out teams. So I'm gonna do it again for the 3rd week in a row. I'm going with the Browns here. Tough
Okay.
defense, Ravens. This is gonna be a tough defense, and I think the Browns. They played them once already, I believe. They're gonna play them again. So
In Baltimore.
yeah, in Baltimore. So I'm gonna take this is a bold pick right here. So I'm gonna take the Browns here to beat Baltimore in Baltimore by
All
a
right,
field goal.
who you got, Don?
Yeah, this is where we start pushing dirt on our opponents. This is where we start. You had that separation with the North. Even though the Browns got a solid defense, they don't have a solid offense. So I think that once we start, beating that defense down, we put them points on the board. I don't think that they had a firepower to match us point for point.
Okay.
Yeah, that worried
Ravens
me
by
too.
14.
By 14.
Okay.
All right, let's transition to the next slide. Wow.
Yeah,
It's 14.
I
All
don't
right.
think that's happening.
Facts.
All right. Cardinals at home against the Falcons. The Falcons are 1-point road favorites against the Cardinals. Vegas is wrong for that. They got them as a 1-point road favorite against a team with, I don't know. Do you know who the quarterback is for the Cardinals? But hell,
Clayton
you
Yeah, I
know who the
do.
quarterback was for the Vikings, so it doesn't matter.
I thought it was the guy that worked at Home Depot down here on 5th Street.
I thought it was the dude selling insurance, man. No?
Yeah. He could
Hey,
be
that's the
selling
backup in the
insurance.
3rd string.
Yeah.
He could be selling insurance in Home Depot. Who
Yeah.
knows?
I thought it was the dude in the cubicle next to me.
Yeah.
It might be the 3rd string in the emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Kyler Murray's not playing, right?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well,
Facts.
I'm going with the Falcons here. I think the Falcons are going to win this game pretty easily. I don't know what Vegas knows something. If they're saying it's going to be a 1-point win against a really bad Cardinals team, I don't know. Phil, who you got?
This may be the best bold pick I do all season.
Why is this a
Right.
bold pick?
Because the Cardinals are bad. I don't trust the Falcons.
No, neither does Vegas.
I agree with Vegas here. I'm going to take the Cardinals on this one.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Cardinals on this one. I don't trust Atlanta right now. I think they're teetering really bad right now.
Well, I mean, Atlanta, the coaching staff going to have to look themselves in the mirror and ask themselves the question of why is Bijan Robinson not getting any opportunities?
Yeah,
but hey,
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what they're doing, but they like losing. Don, who you got?
Who's going to be quarterback for the Falcons? Because right now, I think that Heineke can win that game.
I think he can too.
And I think that the Cardinals have no reason to win because if they did, they would have kept Dobbs.
Right.
They kind of showed their hands early in the season when they, when they traded, an up and coming young quarterback that was making moves and going against the flow of them tanking.
Right. Right. Well, that's why they got rid of him. It's like, what are you doing? You're trying to win? So, all right. So you're going with the Falcons.
No doubt. I got to keep my winning streak strong.
Don't you worry. That lead will be down to 3 games.
All right. All right. Our voice of reason game of the week. Another game of the week. We got the Chargers at home against the Lions. The Lions are 2.5-point road favorites. I'm going with the Lions. You know I don't trust the Chargers. What you got, Phil?
Yeah, same headlines.
Don.
Yeah, I gotta go with the Lions. I mean, the Lions are doing pretty good, and like I said before, they in my power rankings sitting at the strong. I think number 5 I had.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I got them in my power ranking too. All right. So we got the Cowboys at home against the Giants. Yeah. Who is the Giants quarterback? I have no idea. Don't matter. Cowboys are 16.5-point favorites here. I'm going with the Cowboys.
Oof,
This is too
jeez.
easy. Yeah, geez. I definitely, if I'm betting on the points, I'm definitely going with the Giants on this guy. I don't think they're gonna win by 16.5. But anyway, who you got, Phil?
I'm going with the Cowboys. I don't need to explain any more of this.
Yeah, don't waste your time. Don.
The bad part about it is, Marv, is that I think Vegas got this wrong. I got them winning by like 21. I don't think that the Giants really want to play football anymore. They want to do something else. I think the guys are showing up, and once they get that check and they call the bank and see that it cleared, you know,
It,
you get as much as that is.
I hear you. I think the Cowboys going to build a big lead in the first half and start to shut it down. And the Giants going to come back in this game and make it look close. Make it
I
just
don't
about
think
14.
that Philly game hurt them bad, and I
Yeah.
think they want to send a message.
You think
They
you want
want
to
to
send a
send a
message?
message. Yeah, I think Dak and they want to send a message that Dak can have back to back big games, and it's not
Mm.
just on small. I mean, big teams. He can do it on small teams. So it would be kind of a punch in the face if Dak didn't go against a team that we know is
Oh yeah,
depleted, don't have
yeah,
strong numbers.
yeah. Okay, well we'll see because I think that Dak's backup is going to get some playing time here. This one.
Dak gonna have the ice. They win by 21.
All right. All right. Seahawks at home against the Commanders. Seahawks are 6.5-point home favorites here. This is my bold pick. This is another bold pick for me.
Ooh.
I'm going with the Commanders here. I think the Commanders got something going on here. So I got the Commanders winning this game. Phil, who you got?
Man, I went back and forth on this, man.
Why?
I had to really, really think about it, man. Geno Smith right now is really coming back down to earth. Um, I think I'm gonna go with the Commanders here.
You're going with the
I have to go.
Commanders.
Yeah, I got
All
to go with
right.
the Commanders.
All right. I can tell by the way Don is looking at us that he going with the Seahawks. Don, who you got?
Yeah, cause here's the thing, man. You can't go off of what the Ravens did. The Ravens do that to everybody now.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not a good barometer. Varsity against JV, that's not a good barometer. I think
Oh
Geno's
man.
still a solid quarterback. The same way I think the Detroit Lions are a solid team. It
Yep.
just so happens when you run into that speed bump that's right behind that, the speed bump is a big brick wall. It gives people false readings, man. Hey, dump that Ravens tape, man, and keep doing positive things. So I think Geno's gonna go win that
I,
game against them.
I agree with you. When I think of it, when I think of a good team that gets embarrassed on the road and the next game is at home, they want to show that they're a good team. So I'm changing my pick here. I'm going with the Seahawks. I can't see the Seahawks,
Hey,
being embarrassed one week and then going home. Like if this was another road game, I could see them losing it. But I
I'm
can't see
sticking
them
with the
going home.
Commanders. I'm sticking with the Commanders
Yeah.
on
are you
this.
hanging tough?
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is
I'm
where I
hanging
put my
tough, man.
this
No,
Some
that,
this
somebody
is where Don put distance.
this is I mean, somebody gotta have some reason on this show.
yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to have some reason here because if you think about it, the
I think
Seahawks,
teams got tape on Geno Smith.
I don't care if they do. The
We got
Seahawks are going
tape
to be at
on all
home.
quarterbacks. Stop it.
Yeah.
This ain't college football, man. We got tape on everybody.
Well, I guess the Ravens still in signs too. I see.
All
You know?
right, man. Let's get to the next one. We
Hey,
got the Raiders at home against the Jets. The Jets are actually 1.5-point road favorites. Yeah, I don't care. I like the Raiders' new head coach. I like the change at quarterback. I think this team is it's a different team now. I think they got a little swag with them. So I'm going with the Raiders here. I got the Raiders beating the Jets. The Jets fall apart. Phil, who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Raiders also. Even though the Jets got a good defense, I think this game's gonna be real close. So I'm gonna choose the Raiders on this one.
Yeah, I think the Raiders have good pieces on offense that they just wasn't using with Jimmy G. So I'm going with the Raiders. Who you got, Don?
Man, I'm gonna go with the Raiders, and the Jets defense is trash. Because if the defense was anything that they say they were, they could muscle through some of the stuff that, their quarterback is doing, right now. So and I like Pierce. Pierce changed the whole atmosphere overnight.
Yeah.
These guys smoking cigars in the locker room. It's a relaxed atmosphere. It's like what it remind me of, man. It remind me of the Wizard of Oz, man, when the witch died. And everybody just started celebrating for just no damn reason. Everybody come out the woodworks and just start celebrating. I think that's what the Raiders needed.
Yep.
Yep.
And I tell you what, if Josh Daniels gets another job as a head coach somewhere, look, we're gonna have to start questioning whether or not this guy got any pictures on somebody. He's got something embarrassing.
Maybe he just makes a good coordinator.
He will coach again because they started having women's flag football at the Olympics. So I think he'll be a great coach for one of them female football teams.
If he coaches somebody's flag football team, I mean,
might go to the XFL. Shoot.
Well, he should be a head coach. That should be it. We've seen this. We've seen this movie before. I don't want to see it.
Hey, the Belichick area is over, but I digress.
He might be Belichick's successor. He might go back.
Boy.
Back to the Patriots. All right. Lastly, we got the Bills at home against the Broncos. The Bills are 7.5-point home favorites. Yeah, I wanted to go with the Broncos on it, but I can't. I like the Bills. I'm going with the Bills. Phil, this seems like a game that you'll make a bold pick. You going with the Broncos, Phil?
I said I wasn't going to pick the Broncos again this season, but I've been saying now that Buffalo is struggling. And I think Broncos look good.
Yeah,
Broncos look good.
Yep.
So I'm going to pick the Broncos here.
Okay, I figured you would. I'm gonna circle this as a bold pick and put a little clown face next to it.
Okay, all right.
Don, who you got?
Hey man, two trash teams, two trash organizations, both of them going in the same direction in the bottom of the barrel. However, I think that the Bills have a little bit more stability in their locker room than the Broncos. Right now, I don't know what their identity is. I know what the Bills think they are, but they're trying. I don't know what the Broncos are trying to do.
Well, I think they've been turning it around lately. I mean, they beat the Chiefs, so they've done some good things. They had a bye, so they're coming off a bye. So maybe I think it'll be closer. It won't be 7.5. I think that the Bills are going to squeak out this week.
Yep,
we'll see. But anyway, Don doesn't look like he's buying it. Anyway, let's wrap this thing up. Thanks for joining us again. We do this thing every week. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.